Welcome to the internet. Have a look around.
Hey there, YouTube. It's Kurt here. Today we're going to take a look at Welcome to the Internet by Bo Burnham from his new album Inside, also from his new special, and this has gotten generally very positive reviews from the general public. Welcome to the Internet is a very harsh critique of the internet culture and its overall availability to the general public. The song in its entirety starts out with a very carnival/circus-like tune to it. It's like inviting you to sit down and enjoy the experience that it has to offer you. It's very clownish and it's very bouncy, but it's also very fitting to the message that Bo is trying to send to us. The internet is a sort of gesture, something that we maybe shouldn't be taking seriously, but it's something that maybe convinces us in the other direction, that maybe we should take it seriously because it's tricking us into believing that, which is very interesting. It's a very interesting concept for a song, and it does a very good job at alluring us to sit down. And by the time we're comfortable and we're sitting down, the song likes to kick up the tempo. The song kicks up the tempo up until the bridge and just goes faster and faster, and it implies that we're not in control of things. And this is something that I actually think is very, very interesting to think about and analyze within the song. To expand upon this, we're going to take a look at the opening lines here. It says, "Welcome to the internet, have a look around. Anything that brain of yours can think of can be found. We've got mountains of content, some better, some worse. If none of it's of interest to you, you'd be the first. Welcome to the internet. Come and take a seat. Would you like to see the news or any famous women's feet?" There's a lot of examples in these opening lines here in the first verse of how the internet can be a little bit laughable and fun, but also there's something about it that gets a little bit creepy after a bit, and it's not... There's just an overstimulating effect because of all these things that he's naming off. You can be happy, you can be horny, you can be bursting with rage. We've got a million different ways to engage. And there's things that are heavily contrasted and make us question the viability of how these things have impacted our lives. He asks, would you like to fight for civil rights or tweet a racial slur? It's like, in one example, we have one thing that could be seen as very good and progressive and great for society, but it's kind of mitigated for something that's really easy to do and really trolly. That's also very common on the internet. It seems to completely defeat the purpose, and it almost demeans the ability to fight for something that's good because of how easily someone can just make a joke out of it, out of the same platform. So if you're if you're using the same platform as another jester to communicate your messages, doesn't that feel like that message is being a little bit diminished just because it's on the same platform? I think, and honestly, it kind of feels like it. It feels like your opinion is kind of washed out a little bit. But that's a very interesting thing, and I mean no offense in saying that, but like, how do we fight for good things on a platform that cannot take things seriously? But moving on, we get to the chorus. The chorus says, "Could I interest you in everything, all of the time? A little bit of everything, all of the time. Apathy is a tragedy, and boredom is a crime. Anything and everything, all of the time." This is actually probably the most frightening line I've heard probably in music in many years. Like, apathy is a tragedy, and boredom is a crime. Great little line. It's simple, but it's, I think, a great line of poetry that perfectly captures this kind of personality that the internet has taken on. It's weird to think about the internet as a personality, but it's something that is drawing us into it all the time and wants us to take an extreme position on things in one way or another. It's hard. If we are so overstimulated that the internet doesn't want us being bored, but we're so overstimulated that we feel bored anyway. But we treat boredom as this thing that we should constantly avoid, and we find it to be criminal, but there's no way of avoiding it. Maybe boredom is just a part of life. But anything and everything all the time, just trying to chase away that feeling of boredom and chase away that feeling of intrinsic approaching to the grave. That's my best interpretation. But moving on from there, we get to the bridge. And the bridge is very interesting because it contrasts the whole song and brings out a sense of innocence. It brings out the picture of someone very, very young, almost just a baby, having an iPad. And it says, "You were barely 2," and that young person's getting introduced to the internet, and it seems very innocent and almost a little bit pure. But that immediately gets contracted by the most maniacal laughter you will hear on the internet, probably. Great job. Great job, Bo Burnham. It was a great, great maniacal laugh and very gesture-like. But he breaks that off and brings us right back to the reality that this might not have been the best thing for this person. And the internet has taken on sort of its own piece of consciousness in trying to distract us and keep us feeding some sort of machine all of the time. And what do we do from here? I think that's the biggest question the song does. What do we do from here? It presents to us this incredible problem, but can we even do anything about it? And that might be the most frightening thing about the song, is that we can't do anything about the internet from now on. I'm doing this analytical video over the internet platform. How isn't that a little bit frightening? It can only raise these questions in our mind. And what do we do? Do we cut ourselves off from it? It might not have been good for us. The only thing that's been good for us is probably the package delivering industry. Other than that, like, what good does it do? That's the essential question. What good does it do? That's all I got. Hopefully you enjoy this video, guys. Peace.